Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. I'm trying to clean up all the stuff that I gathered over the course of the summertime. It seems like it kind of builds up in front of the garage door. So, snow's not that far away and I want to take some time to clean up some of the crap that is here. And one of the machines is this snowblower. What name is this one? Probably an MTD, Eagle Star, whatever that is. That was given to me, and it's got parts and pieces kind of taken off of it, and there's a box over there with miscellaneous stuff. So let's drag it in the garage and see what we got and see if we can bring it back to life. And the box of stuff that came with it. You can tell it's been sitting there a while. And it's got one of the built-in anti-theft devices. Can you tell? Yeah. That was easy. So a little bit of the backstory on this is it was a neighbor of mine. Last winter he called me. It was like one of the last storms. I know he said he had a problem that one of the cables broke. You actually can see a cable hanging out of down there, and I'm trying to remember what was going on. I think I seem to remember something about a bracket or something broke off to a mounting bracket. So we'll look into that, but I would like to kind of see what we got going on with it in general, whether it still runs and all. So I never ran it. I just his wife ended up buying him a new snowblower. He says, "You want to get this thing out of here? Come take it." And of course, being the hoarder that I am, I did. It does have, looks like a 2/3 of a tank of gas. And we got some dirty oil in there. Put this oil in there. You want to try starting it? Let's see what we get. Choke is on. Throttle's all the way up. Let's give her some priming. Let's see if the electric. No button. This could be one of those plug and go jobbers. Got fuel shut off? It does. I can't tell if it says on or off. Let's flip it one direction. Let's see what that does. Give it another. Well, it'll run. That's a good sign. Got the gas off. Let's flip it up on the bucket and see if we can see what's going on with the fact that it drags around. Give ourselves a little bit of an assessment of what's happening. Let's see what we got. That's weird looking. Looks like just Mother Nature. I see a little bit of a nest of something. That's a leaf. That stuff should free up. A little bit of rubbing going on here, whatever that is. That's on top here. So I'm gonna go take a little bit of time. We'll get a wire wheel in here. We'll start cleaning up the shifter, get that to move, spray some lube on these chains, see if we can get all this to kind of come back. Yeah, that chain is, look at the knuckle right there. Another thing I noticed too is that chain back there is kind of on a goofy angle. Forgot to put a plastic bag in the gas cap when I flipped it up. Got too much gas in it. Let her back down. Alright, so this is the transmission, and this is what's called the drive disc, and this is the drive plate. I'm calling it a drive plate. This is the output coming out of the engine, and this is the gear train going to the wheels. And select different gears depending on how fast you want to go, how close this disc is to the center of this wheel. Closer to the center, the slower the machine goes, the further away to the outside, the faster the machine goes. And to get reverse, you go the opposite direction, you pick up off the disc on the other side. Well, the only problem with that is that this disc will not, it's bound up and is not sliding on the shaft. So, see if I can do this with the airline and not shake you guys too much. Let's go give that a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of noise alert. Let's see if we can get some of that stuff off. I'm hitting you. Hold on. Hold on. I'll get you. Yeah, I'm trying to clean up before I can start sliding it. What do you think that is? 5/8 or 9/16? 9/16. Alright, let's see if we can kind of turn that in a direction we can get more of it. Yeah, you're right about there. I forgot that top one, didn't I? Yeah, that one up here needs it. And one more now. Did I get that last one? Just trying to spring it back. So I'm going to go put a little bit of oil on there, probably just with my finger, and we'll see about tapping. Oh, there it goes anyway. Now it goes. Go shift that to the other side, we can get the other end of it. So that was in 6th gear. Now that's reverse. You can see how reverse is now on the opposite side of the center there. Everything spin backwards. Let's go get that. I know, I hit you again. You guys are steaming too close. Is good with this? You get the idea, right? So I'm going to work on cleaning that up. A little lube on there, and it will jump on maybe to the chains. So I put the machine back in reverse to get our drive disc out of the way as much as possible, because you don't want to get any oil or contaminants on here or on here, because that's a friction drive, and you lube them up, they are no longer a friction drive. So we got about that much movement out of the chain. I figure what we'll do is we'll come in with some PB Blaster and do our best to start soaking this thing and see if we can get her to get up over the hill a little bit. There you go. That was easier than I expected. Let's get some lube on the rest of it. Let that soak in. I might be able to jump on something else while we're doing that. That right there, you can see how it doesn't want to bend yet. If it doesn't come back, we could take them off and soak them. But I've had good luck doing this, so. Smooth. All right, let's go do something else while that's soaking. Almost lost my favorite hammer. I hate when that happens. Let's, a couple of the high spots, I want to try tapping down on them. See if we can get those knuckles to kind of move. There we go. Let me know when you see one come around. I'm gonna try doing this video without putting so much, there they are, so much light in than like I normally do. It seems like I oversaturate it. It looks good to me when I'm filming it through the camera, but then when I look back later on, always messed up. So we're gonna go try one this. Crunchy. Letter soap. This one actually has a master link on it. A lot of times they don't. I think that, you know, of course, probably another budget cut, so I didn't want to have to try to cut a link apart. Let's see if I can stab myself in the finger on this one. Get it apart. Okay, that's part of it. Now we can soak that chain. There we go. Get rid of some of the ones that don't want to move all that well. And we got the chain on a piece of wood. Let's see if we can get some of the heavy crap off of it anyway. Get the idea. So I got the ultrasonic cleaner heating up, and I threw that chain in there. We'll let that, see how that does for cleaning it up. The other one seems fine, so I'm not going to bother pulling that one off. It's got no issues with lumpiness to it. So sprayed it down. I used fluid film for a lube. I sprayed a bunch of the pivot points and bushings. We'll let them kind of clean up, soak in, and then we're going to clean them up, wipe them down with a rag later on again, because we don't want to be flinging crap onto the other parts. But while that's doing that, again, there's some more up here. While that's doing that, we're going to flip it back down. Maybe we'll pull the bowl off the carb, see what that looks like, and look into the cable issue that was the main problem when I took it out of service the last time. Alright, got our back shiny side up. I'm going to get this tin out of our way so we can get to the carb, and so you guys can see it. You can grab the float ball underneath and access it, but for filming it's not very good. Plus, most of the time if I don't pull this off, I pull the bowl off, it's crappy, I gotta take the carb off, and if I do take it off, then I don't have to pull the carburetor off. So we'll see how that goes. 2 screws here, one there and one in the front, and then a wire comes off with a kill for this, and this should come out of the way. Sometimes you have to take this rod out of your way to get it, sometimes you don't. I'm going to try working around it for now. Screws are out. Let's see if we can wiggle this thing out of here. There we go. We're in. Let's go get that float bowl off of there and see what kind of prizes we get in there. Going in. Got ourselves a fairly clean white cup. Let's see what kind of heavies come out of it. Wherever I figured to put the wrench down, there it is. I'm betting on some water. The fuel is shut off, so it's only going to be whatever's in the bowl. Yeah, not bad. Bolts actually fairly clean. Good. If I didn't take that cover off though, we would have needed to pull the carburetor. Still might, but we're gonna go with it like that. I think I'm gonna go clean that up, clean the jet up. Actually what I'm gonna do is empty the white cup out. We'll turn the gas back on, we'll let it flow through, we'll take a look at what color the gas is and see if there's any issues with the fuel. Alright, let's go give ourselves a little snowblower urine test. So she passes the pee test. That looked a little cloudy right at first. Let's go let that run for a second. Shut that back off. And let's see what we got. This doesn't look too bad. I see a little bit right on the very bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it. You see it's about a ½ inch long. I'm going to dump that out, do it one more time, because water will settle to the bottom. So if you're able to get all the water out, it's just the pain to get rid of the old fuel is the reason why I'm doing this instead of dumping it. Unless I have to. I put a shim under the front of the snowblower, and the reason why is because on the gas can, the tank, the outlet is towards the back of the machine, and it was leaning the wrong way uphill, so any water that was in it, you're not going to see. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see if we continue to get any water out of it, or if we're good to go. Because if you don't, it's going to make me just go back in there again, so I'm going to rock it back and forth a little. I know what's going on. I got the plastic bag over the gas cap, and it's not allowing air to come in. There we go. That'll flow. Kind of like holding your thumb over a straw, you know? You pick it up out of your drink and it stays in the straw. Same idea. It's a lot of times too, I see machines that'll run for 10 or 15 minutes. The inside of the gas cap breaks off. They have like this, if you want to call it a diffuser, vent, and it breaks, and then the gas cap is able to, all the stuff falls in the gas tank, and it makes it so that it seals the thing right off completely. Let's see what we got now. I think we're okay. She's a little on the yellow side, but it's not terrible. I do not see anything floating in the bottom. So we're gonna let that run. We'll let that burn up in the machine. Here's what I was talking about inside the gas cap. You can kind of see you got this metal ring here. This little tip will break off, and this will fall off, and that little, sometimes you lose the little rubber plug on the other side of it, and then when you screw it down, it allows you to crush the cap all the way down so no air can kind of come inside of it. So if you look in your cap and you don't see that on there, you need a new cap. Either that or, you know, drill a pinhole in it, but it will splash out of that. Anything over about a half tank, you drill a hole in it, it'll dribble. Well, the bowl's back on and everything's cleaned up. Let's try firing it up, make sure it runs okay. We'll adjust the carburetor, see if we have to go any further with that before we jump on to other stuff. I think we're good to go. No choke first. Let's see how that goes. My fault. I didn't pull the idle circuit out. Has no idle circuit. So we gotta go take that carb off, soak it, see if we can get it to come clear. No response from the adjusting screw neither. So that carb's soaking in the ultrasonic cleaner. I figured I'd jump over to what the initial failure was, or the last thing that took it out of operation was this cable, which goes, I think, from halfway underneath the machine up to the pulley. You can kind of see here what's left of that cable. And I was trying to figure out what happened. That pulls this lever over here, and then that would have a tensioner pulley on it. Right there, but It's got a metal tab on it. Now look at that metal tab. That metal tab broke off of, it looks like, see if we can get in there. Alright. I'm gonna drop it, I know I am. Something like that off the end of that bracket right there. I don't know if this is welded onto anything. Get you a better view. So there's the bracket right there. I'm gonna try taking that bolt out of that one, right, and see if that'll come out of there. If so, then we'll weld this back together, maybe beef it up a little bit, and that shouldn't happen again. But let's get that out of there, and then we gotta see about trying to come up with a cable. I'll do my best to get the rest of that little cable out of there. You can kind of see that's where it is, but no avail. It is not playing well with me. I actually have to get this pulley out of the way. I thought I'd get enough room by taking the top bolts out, splitting it open, and getting in there, but we got to take the rest of the way apart, separate the two pieces, get impact gun on there, and hopefully this comes off. A lot of times these are seized to the shaft, and if that's the case, we're going to try going about it a different way, because if I kill the pulley, we're going to start spending some good money on it. Shall we try? See how this does. I'm not giving it a good success rate. Let's see if I can find the nut. I'll throw that back on. See if we can save those threads a little bit. Let me run that back in with the impact gun. Try that. So we can get under. Meet it with a little persuasion. Made it too easy for me. I thought I was going to put up a fight. It came right off of there. Look at that. Now we get the cable off. Made it much easier. Alright. Alright, so there's the bracket welded up. That should be good to go. And then there's the cable setup that we need. I could probably try to order one online. I think he tried doing it. He ended up getting the wrong cable. He got a different style of cable, and I think that's where he kind of gave up. But I'm going to look at my stash, see if we can come up with something to get maybe similar to that and work with. If not, I'll have to chase that avenue. But let's see what we go find first before that happens. Let's go see if any of those kind of fit the bill. What's that one? That one's like the one that he ordered. That's not going to be it. Something with a jacket on it anyway. I'm not seeing anything. You know, I don't see any of those threaded cables. All I see is the solid ones. I wonder if they would work or not. That style, you know. And let me look out back. Alright, see how dinner's cooking. I got a new cable ordered, but it's going to be about a week or so before we go and see that. So I'll probably shelf this video until that comes in, and then we'll see about finishing this up. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. I went back with, I tried a couple of different things. I tried vinegar, I tried a couple of the different cleaners, Purple Power, green stuff, some other. And I found on all the aluminum carburetors, I wasn't finding anything that either didn't clean the carburetor or it didn't, it caused corrosion on the carb. So I am back with the gallon pails that you buy. I'll show you in a second. These guys. So I got two of these in there, and seem to do fairly decent. A little on the pricey side. They're like 20 bucks a piece, but hey. All right, I got the carb out of the carb cleaner, and this is the main, and this is the idle circuit. idle circuit is plugged off with a BB on the end of it, and it draws its fuel in through a little pinhole in there going into there. And it's always a rough time trying to get in there to clean that and get anything there. And one of the YouTubers made a suggestion to me, and I'm going to go try it right now, and we're going to go figure out how well that works together. And what his suggestion was is when you're having whatever your cleaner is, carb cleaner or whatnot, take a bristle from a wire brush, which I did, I pulled one out, and have it like so it has a little bit of a kink in it, feed it into the hose so it wants to kind of stay in the hose, and you can still spray through it, but you could use that for the guide to, you know, get it onto that little hole, and then you can push right up against it and then push the fluid through it. So I'm going to go try that right now. I'm going to put a light on it because I can't see, and we'll see if we can get into there. It's right there. I think we got it. Get some of that. Which makes sense when you think about it, right? Well, Pete's trying to put this the plug because it does line it right up to it. Let's try it one more time. All right. We're going to continue to assemble that, put it back together, and we'll see what we get. All right, I got a jack stand connected to it, holding it up. It's still apart, and a pair of vice grips clamping the bolt to there so that it doesn't start up, vibrate, and fall over. Hopefully. But we're going to try to run it and see if the carb decides to come back and have an idle circuit. So I think we are set to go. Don't know if we need any. A couple of those. See what happens. Call that a win. So I figure I'll work on the auger bucket a little bit and some of the cutting surfaces. If you look on here, you can kind of see that this cutting edge is wore down pretty bad to one side where it's actually kind of cutting right through the bolt, and then the shoe is gone on this side. The other side is still there, but this side is gone. I'm not going to keep putting, buying all new stuff for this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try my best to get it unbolted. See if we can spin it around so that this edge is facing down. See how it works. If I find out that it's just so far out of whack, I may just put a couple of welds on it and tack it on there. And then we'll get this off of here, and we'll try to rebuild that with a piece of metal and get that ready to go. By the time this wears out again, the snowblower will be one for the dump. And if somebody still feels like fixing it from that point, they can go cut it off, but that's the way I'm going. Yeah, not too bad. I was able to use the bolts over. I heated them up and got them to spin out of there. All except for one. We just got a regular bolt on there. It's tucked in the corner. Shouldn't be an issue. They're, I don't think the name of the style of head that's on them. Stove bolt? No. They're smooth on the backside, so the snow and stuff doesn't get caught on them. You guys will answer in the comments, I'm sure. Alright, so now we got to make... See how that one looks? Let's see if we can make that wore down thing look something like that. Hey, well, that's kind of what the They look like when they were virgin. You can kind of see how far away that one is ground away. So on top of having to redo the shoe, we also have to make some backfill. So I looked over at the bandsaw, I had some scrap pieces. I figure we're just gonna go take that guy, we'll weld it onto there. That'll give us, you know, the drop that we had. And then there's another piece of something, looks like 1/8 inch, hot rolled. We'll use that and we'll bend that piece up afterwards and weld it. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, we'll get this tacked together, and I'll start with that, and then we'll work on the second piece. All right, let's see if we can get that piece to roll. Got a wedge in there with a socket. Might have to heat it, but let's see if it'll just cold bend. Sorry about that. That should probably be more than enough. I think it's like we should maybe reposition it. Maybe get us a little bit more. Something like that. Okay. And let's try a little more. There we go. Hey, let's see what we got comparing to that one. So I would say we start our next bend right about there. And we'll make the rest of it. There we go. So I'm thinking something. So that's the exact size right there. So that should line right up on top of those two nubs. Might just offset it. Maybe like that, or probably like that. What do you think? Think we should do that, and then we'll just grind off what's left, tack that together, and cut that off. Let's go with it. Hope it's not hot. Well, it ain't the prettiest, but it should definitely do the job. That looks like that, and they're roughly made out of the same material, so it should work out pretty good. My question to you guys: why do you think that side of the machine wore down so much more than this side? I think I know the answer, but I'll give you a second to contemplate why it did that. Now this wore out, and the cutting edge wore out on that side. What do you think that might be? My thing, I think the tire on one side was always losing air, so it was always kind of hanging down on that one side. That's my guess. How'd you make out? I have to run the chain in the ultrasonic cleaner too, and it's looking pretty good. It's all pretty much free. One of them I had to put a little bit of heat on it, just wasn't kind of coming out of it, but it seems pretty good. I think after it runs on the machine for a while, it'll be absolutely fine. There's actually I think it had 2 master links on it. There's another master link right there. A lot of them I find don't have any, and this one must be making up for it or something. Alright, so the chain's all back on it, and it's pretty much, other than changing the oil and, you know, definitely cleaning it up, I think the mechanicals are pretty much all caught up. We got what we need to get taken care of, until we get the cable. So that's going to be a couple of days away, and I'll wait on that, and we'll continue this video on. But for me, I'm stopping right now. So if you wonder why there was a break in the videos, this is kind of what happens. So, in a minute, I'll be back. And it's about 4 days later, and we have ourselves a brand new cable. $17.95 delivered. So I'm going to go through the process of getting that threaded back up through here, get the pulley tightened back up, and sistering that system together. Probably not going to show any of that. And then we'll get into maybe the fine tuning and some leveling of things. So let me get on with this and continue on. Getting close to buttoning it up. The last thing I'm kind of running down is that cable. You can see where it runs down around and connects to this linkage. It's got a cable from up above, and that attaches to this guy. And again, this was taken apart not by me, by somebody else. I'm like, well, what goes from there to there? Of course, I look at the other side. I can see that it's got like a fairly decent heavy spring on it. And in the package of stuff that came with it was this spring, but I do not see this spring, first of all, being heavy enough to do what it needs to do, and it does not fit over that top shaft. You know, you kind of tell. So I don't know if it broke in the past and maybe this is what was shoved on it and was trying to be used. I just don't know. So I think I'm going to try to find something like that. Let's go to the hoard and let's see what the Horde has to offer. It's kinda something. See anything? It's kind of short. Oh, that guy. Maybe that guy. Yeah, another one deeper. That's gonna be too big. When we grab that guy, maybe we'll cut it up. Oh, way down there. Oh, maybe we can cut that guy up. And we'll see what we can make out of those. So that's what I'm kind of looking at for spring wise, and I just want to kind of show a trick of how to change the size up on a spring. We're going to kind of guesstimate. We're going to stand one of these rings up, so I think we're probably going to go. We can try there. If we need more, then we'll knock another one off, but use that for the guesstimation. All I'm going to do is that's where my mark is. I don't even remember which one we wanted. We wanted this section of it. Not that that matters. So as long as you got a sharp corner of a piece of metal, you can actually just lay it right on there. And you're going to come back and you can give it a whack with a hammer. See how it wants to stand up? And you can kind of, at that point, once you get it going, you could actually stick it in a vise and give 2 screwdrivers, stick it in there, and give it a little bit more of a bend and stand that one up. I should have had that ready. Like that. And we're just going to stand that one up the rest of the way. We're going to come back with a cutting wheel and just cut off the excess that we need. But basically you can see how that ring is standing up. I'm going to come back with a whiz wheel. I'm just going to knock it off right there, and then we'll have that much of a length of spring. And we may need to fudge it from there. Actually, it's this one that we want, so we're going to cut that off and go with that. And where are we? We want this one, so we want to get rid of that one. There we go. That's our new size. It's the sudden shock of the hammer is what gives you that good bend. You just try bending it right off from the beginning. They kind of you'll bend like 4 of them evenly instead of getting 1 at a time. I'm not sure if that's totally correct yet or not, so I'm going to function test it, but this is what I'm going to go with. You can kind of see how it's in the process of pulling that cable and it relaxes. I still have to put the boot on and tighten this up, and then that's that tensioner pulley moving. So when we get that kind of closed up, we'll lay it back down on the side, we'll look at it, we'll fire it up, and we'll see how it operates. And I would say mystery solved for the other spring. So what happens is you pull the lever, the idler pulley goes in, the tensioner pulley goes in and turns the auger on and off. And it also has a cam, you can see right there, and this is the little brake shoe so that when it goes back to the off position, it stops the auger from spinning. Well, that only has gravity holding it right now, and I would do believe that this spring went on there and kept constant tension down on that. Plus it probably pushed on the cam and helped keep this out of you know, being in drive mode or engage mode. So I'm gonna go figure out how that was kind of fished down in there. Probably grabbed off of, I would say, maybe that bracket down below, down there, and then wrapped up to here somewhere. I think I do see a little hole. See right next to the nut there, see the hole? Joke there somewhere. I believe it probably went into that and then got pulled down to that bracket and kept tension. So I'm gonna go work on trying to feed that in there and fire it up. Alright, so I got that together. Not quite sure about that spring location. It had the ends of the springs are more squared off compared to the other one that went through a hole that were more rounded off. And who's even to say if that's even the right spring. But the way I got it set up, seems like it does what it's supposed to. And we're going to go run it and make sure that the belt stalls out and the auger stalls out and all. And that it drives okay too. The tensioner is about in the middle. I'm going to run with that, and then again I can still adjust the cable, how hard the cable pulls on it, but I think that's a fairly decent setup. The belt shouldn't be super tight. It should have some kind of you know, a bit of flex to it. not that much. As soon as this runs, it's going to pop in. But it shouldn't be really pushing on it and really kind of cranking down on it. It kind of just takes the slack up on the idle side of things. And unfortunately, until you have snow, you kind of put it in some snow. A little hard to kind of tell. If you do, it just burns up and eats the belts up way too fast. So that's why they use a spring instead of a cable going directly to it and just a cable pulling on it, giving it its all. So we're gonna go with that. Fire it up. We'll see how it does. Let's go give her a whirl. See how it function tests out. Throttle, choke. Let's try not priming it. The only thing I notice is that brake needs to be adjusted more. I don't think it's quite dropping down all the way to stop it, you know, fast enough. A lot of times too, that little brake shoe kind of wears down and draws up and doesn't touch. That may be the issue too. And one of those in there. And somebody wanted to correct me and say that those are not cotter pins. Those are blah, 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 blah. I don't know. They call them cotter pins in our country. You can call them whatever you want. I'm going to go stick with a cotter pin. Well guys, it's getting pretty close to the end. I know this video is getting somewhat long, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. A couple things I still have to do is change the oil and just kind of give it a once last over. I reset the shoes on the bottom so that the shoes and the cutting edge all touch at the same time. And it depends on what your driveway is. Like my driveway is ratty, so I would leave about a ½ inch gap. I let the shoes come down and let the cutting edge stay up so that I'm not scuffing up all the rocks and stuff. But if you've got a nice paved driveway, it's going to be set up for level. And you know, it's an okay machine. It's got a few more years life in it, so it'll continue on. I may take the snow cutters and flip them up. That's what these bars are on the side. You flip them in the upper position, and it helps, like say by your mailbox when you're cutting the snow and the snow is up to here over the top of the auger. It slices it and it kind of helps it fall into the banks. That's what their job is. So you don't need them. They leave them bolted on the side like that. It's got the wrong plug on it. It should have a button on here that you hit. So now when you plug it in, it automatically cranks. But you know, good enough. Belts look like they were decent. Still needs to be functioned kind of in the heavy snow, but this is my neighbor across the street. He's an elderly gentleman, and he's been running one. I've been gluing back together for him for quite a few years. You know, he comes over with the sad puppy eyes, and you know, can you help me? And yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I don't have much money, so I think I'm just gonna donate this one to him. And if he gives me his old one, which I think actually is the same machine as this, but it's gone. You know, I may just take the motor off of it and junk the rest of it, and he can go and run this one. And it seems decent enough. It should last quite a few more years. So with that, guys, I think I'm going to go shut her down. I want to thank all you guys for taking a journey with me and wrenching on some crappy junk. I think we're into this. The cable was 18 bucks and whatever oil is and, you know, whatever cleaning supplies. So maybe 25 bucks and a little bit of time. Brought this one back to life. So with that, I want to thank all of you for watching, commenting. And if you like, subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you on the next one. Later, guys.